Hi, I'm Deborah Berman with Gold Derby, and I'm here with my Fab Four to talk about the Emmy nominations and our predictions for who we think is going to take home the trophy. Thank you, Clayton Davis, Marcus Jones, and Pete Hammond. So let's start. We haven't gotten a chance to get together since the nominations were first announced. So let's just take a little bit of a step back. Was there a nomination that surprised you the most? Pete, what do you think?
I don't remember when the nominations came out being surprised by much of anything except Jeff Hiller in Somebody Somewhere.
That's the answer right there.
There's your answer. That was a delightful surprise.
Yeah, that was a real surprise, and I loved it. And the script too. I'm in the writers branch, but I know they're the most enlightened branch and often go for little off the wall things. But this show's been on 3 years. And this is the first time. It sort of reminds me of Schitt Creek, where that suddenly came to life when it got on a service that people knew, and just swept everything. People discover it, so they took a little while, but they discovered that show, and they discovered Jeff Hiller, and that's just great. So that's mine.
He's not necessarily surprised by the nomination or surprised that they got the nomination and someone else didn't. So Rashida Jones making it for Black Mirror, but Paul Giamatti missed in the end was pretty shocking to me, especially since Black Mirror got into her series. It just felt like that would have been a slam dunk. And I was big on it early on in the season, and then I wasn't sure towards the end. But those maybe 4 nominations for Paradise with Julianne Nicholson and James Marsden also getting in with the series with Sterling K. Brown, which lets you in on the secret. If Sterling K. Brown is in your show, you're just going to get Emmy love. So let's stop doubting that.
Casting tip, definitely.
Yep.
Nice.
Marcus, what was your surprise?
Yeah, I really love the outstanding television movie category, because you never know what you're going to get. And I was surprised to learn that there are people in the world that watch Nona's in the Gorge.
I reviewed Nona's. And Nona's is a lovely little movie and a true story.
Okay, so, I didn't know it was a true story. Maybe that'll be the thing
to Staten Island, to that restaurant.
Yeah.
And the guy's still running it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Gorge is awesome. So yeah, it was a lot of good insight. The television movie category, we talked about this, me and Deborah and I have spoken about this before. Just call it outstanding film made for television or something, because there's something about it. People are complaining about the quality of nominees, and we have some good nominees here. But it's because a lot of filmmakers don't like TV movie has such a bad connotation to it.
Exactly.
So change the name. Get better films.
Non-theatrical features. There's something about it. There's opportunity. But I also think
they'll be shocked by this list this year that Bridget Jones is actually a film made for television. Not in the rest of the world.
I know. It's a huge hit in the rest of the world.
It's just such a weird category because it only really has to do with its release strategy in the United States. It has nothing to do with how it was made. It's such a specific format. And then when you think about when it comes to documentary, and then we can just start arguing about what makes a documentary for the Emmys versus the Oscars. And that could be a whole separate episode of this.
I know. Will and Harper on year 2 of campaigning.
That's true.
I guess we sort of touched on this a little bit, but what snub surprised you the most? Was there something that was left out other than Paul Giamatti?
Ooh, Allison Janney, man.
Allison Janney
is a Emmy staple, and The Diplomat still got in series, and Kerry Russell still got in, and that show got 2 nominations, and she wasn't one of them.
Inexplicable.
I could not. I mean, listen, this is Meryl Streep territory. So when she doesn't make it, you're like, what happened? What went wrong? And I still don't know the answer to that, because obviously they saw the show because it's nominated. So is this we just do this too much? But
they're mad at her character?
Mind-boggling. Cannot believe she's not there.
The snub that didn't surprise me is Lawman, or whatever it's called, Landman. Taylor Sheridan just can't get arrested at the Emmys, anything he does. And so that particular snub is not one that surprised me, because I thought, it's going to fall right in line with this Taylor Sheridan curse at the Emmys. And it did, even despite the fact Billy Bob Thornton campaigning up the kazoo and all of that.
Billy Bob was everywhere. I mean, listen, the Taylor Sheridan thing, and again, we spoke about this before, it's the Harrison Ford effect from season 1 of Shrinking. Campaigning still matters. And guess who
does.
campaigned season 2? Harrison Ford. He
Yeah.
was to a lot more places this season than ever before. And look, his first Emmy
First time Emmy nominee, Harrison Ford. There you have it.
Works, man.
Campaigning
Yeah.
works, especially when it comes to Emmys. Those voters want to see people on the trail.
Yep.
Though you say
Mark?
that, and I would say that I'm not like fully upset that they weren't nominated, but I was a little surprised that in lead actress in a comedy, Kate Hudson didn't make it in, because that Running Point is a popular show. And so I was thinking along the same lines of Maya Rudolph getting in last year for Loot, even though it didn't get nominated elsewhere. Like, I think that she was really campaigning hard. And then and the person who did end up being the second Netflix person, because I feel like we knew Kristen Bell was going to get in, was Uzo Aduba for The Residents, which is canceled.
Because she is female Sterling K. Brown.
Yeah. I was going to say, put her in the Sterling casting category.
But
never bet against Uzo.
We got to stop doing this. Stop thinking that she's not going to get in. She's going to get in. Doesn't matter that you canceled the show. She's going to get in.
Yeah, it helps that her name is Aduba. It starts with an A. And Sterling K. Brown starts with a B.
But
I know
they people get reverse.
I know they reverse it, but
I've written about that before. People really underestimate the alphabetical order or reverse alphabetical order and how that really does benefit some of those early people. So if you're A or Z, you get a little bit of a leg up in the race. And
how do you think Ellen Burstyn got nominated for a 14-second role?
or Don Cheadle for Falcon and the Winter Soldier in Guest. Like, it's happened sometimes. Yeah,
it works for sure.
Yeah.
So we've got some big races going into all of this. I think one of the biggest questions is the drama race category, where we've got Severance, which has a ton of nominations, going up against The Pitt. Which do you think has the biggest momentum? Where's your head and your heart, I should say?
Oh, don't want to reveal my heart. It's too precious. No, but listen, 27 nominations is such a flex. Like,
right.
It flex. So as to the studio and comedy, and we'll get to that in a minute. But Severance getting 27 nominations was really, I mean, listen, 5 short of the record of Game of Thrones, like 3 editing nominations, like that. It showed up. I think that has the edge just based on momentum and the nomination haul. Now, The Pitt did better because I think I was tracking at about 9 or 10 and it did 13, which I think can be misleading. You look at those 2 numbers, you're like, oh, like Severance is so far ahead. The Pitt is definitely in it. You got 2 directing, 2 writing. Noah's there, Catherine Lanas is there, but I'm all about packages. What does it look like on the day? What did you win that amounts to a drama series win? And The Pitt can win Noah Wyle, sure. What else does it win on the day? It's kind of tough to mirror that out. So that's why I think Severance has the edge, because maybe it doesn't get an acting win, or maybe it gets a bunch of acting wins. We're in the time of sweepers right now. I think Ben Stiller is probably going to win director, and it's going to win a few techs. So I think it's Severance right now, with Pitt the runner-up, and then maybe in a fanboy world, Andor did really, really well. Like, considering, I think it could be a little dark horse.
Yeah,
that would be a shocker. Marcus, what do you think?
That would not happen, I don't think.
I'd say
Tony Gilroy's good, but I don't see the entire Academy going in that direction. I would say White Lotus, you didn't mention, and White Lotus was so well watched. And I noticed when I did the Pitt thing, I did a Q&A with them last night. It was packed, and I asked how many people, they were showing the finale. I said, how many people have already seen the finale? And 3/4 of the place, hands went up. And so I know that's really watched. So I think that's good. Medical shows have a hard time winning, though. ER won in like the 90s. and you go back to Marcus Welby, MD, or things like that. But, it's just tough for the win, but that show is admired. It didn't get cinematography, though. It didn't get editing.
The editing is huge because of the top 4 branches with the most members, editing is in the top 4 most populated branch. So the fact that the Pitt isn't there really does hurt. And one of the other big branches is executives. So obviously there's a lot of HBO people that are TV Academy members, but as we see, there are 3 HBO shows nominated. Do they know internally to go for one show, or are they doing a little bit of a divide and conquer, which allows something like Severance to win or something else?
So Pete, what's your pick? You think it's Severance?
I would say that based on its nominations and its across the board appeal, because that's what you're looking for in something like this. Although I wouldn't be shocked to see the Pitt or something come in. Slow Horses, I thought, was building last year, but now it's fallen back. I thought that was the kind of show that could surprise there at one time, but I don't think it is now. So I would say, I'd say you have to say that Severance is the front runner now if you're going to make bets on this. But I think it might be a little bit closer than you think. But with all these nominees, 8, it could go any which way. So Apple TV is not going to have the same problem HBO does in canceling itself out between Slow Horses. I think they know what their top horse is here with Severance. And Severance obviously got discovered. It obviously got discovered from the season 3 years ago.
I mean, they gave people enough time to catch up.
Yeah. And so I think we're looking at a situation where this is a show whose time has come.
Yeah.
And they've been running a really strong campaign. Marcus, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say Head, Severance, Heart, The Pitt. But I think something significant that we were kind of alluding to is that when you have a lot more above the line nominations, that's kind of more public facing, gets more publicity seeing these actors on. And so with The Pitt, even though people love that show, it's just Noah and Catherine and none of these characters people fell in love with, like Taylor Dearden's character. She didn't end up getting nominated, neither did Patrick Ball.
Well, Sean Hannity did, though.
Yeah, for guest actor, which not as big. But Severance, I think you see John Turturro's in there, Adam Scott, like they got everyone in there. Even Zach Cherry got nominated.
Yeah.
And so you got to kind of give it up for Apple really campaigning, believing in the show. I mean, they probably spent enough money and waited long enough that they were like, we got to just make this work. But look, they did. It's really impressive.
Apple just really scraping by to get those nominations. But actually, to your point, Marcus, I think what we see now with Severance especially, it has, nearly doubled its nomination haul. It's really like hitting the circuit in a big way. And we know we're watching less TV, probably in this big TV boom. So it's just easy to go down the line. The more categories you're nominated in, the easier it is for you to. That's why I think Britt Lauer is such a sneaky winner in lead actress drama.
So you think she's going to upset?
Because Kathy Bates is the only nomination for Matlock, and you have to go back to Tatiana Maslany for a winner being the sole nominee for your show in the acting category. It doesn't happen very often. So I think she's a little sneaky pick.
So are you predicting a Severance acting sweep?
A near sweep. I think Noah still might do it, but I think Britt, I think Tramel's in it in a significant way. Patty Arquette, one of those she won for the act. Like we have to assume that she's in it as well. Like Severance can do really, really well on the day.
I think it's a good question of like where they split it, because I think it's Noah, but I'm not sure how much that extends. Like my pick is still for Kathy for sure. Marcus, what about you?
Yeah, I think in this case it's not a situation like we'll talk about in other categories where one show is like completely dominating from like a fan standpoint. And so you can see them really splitting things off, where if Severance wins series, it's because Noah won actor. It's because Kathy, we love her. She's the one representative for Matlock. And then supporting actor, actress, Like White Lotus got 23 nominations. That is not insignificant either. They're half the supporting drama nominees. And so I could see, especially having HBO MVPs Carrie Coon and Walton Goggins in there, White Lotus picking up some more Emmys.
To add to that, especially Carrie Coon, I think, perfect example, got helped out by Gilded Age significantly.
For sure.
I think Carrie Coon gets over the finish line. And it's interesting. I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, and how everyone feels that episode submissions still matter.
Mm-hmm.
And where you go back and forth about that. And when you look at episode submissions, I think like Sam Rockwell, like pound for pound, I think has like the best episode submission from White Lotus. And so many of the White Lotus people submitted the finale, including Jason Isaacs, which I wouldn't have picked for him personally. But I think when you have something like that happening, it lends itself to some surprises. And when you bring up the Pitt, like possibly get over the finish line, Noah has to come with that. But I'm also reminded of Deborah, I'm a throwback for you here. First season of Homeland.
Yes.
Like, when everyone was like, Claire Danes. And then Damian Lewis just came in for the ride. And then it did series as well. And I think, like, you have to either think, all right, Noah and Catherine are together, end series, or it's just Noah and stop there. But
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see for sure.
I don't know.
What do you think, Pete?
When you have four actors, and I don't think a category submission means squat. I don't even know, if you've got a ballot in front of you, what category, what show did they submit?
Episode submission, you mean?
I have no idea. That used to be the case years ago. But, and when you sat in hotel rooms, we used to sit in hotel rooms and, I remember having to wake up a couple of the voters because they were falling asleep watching these actual episode submissions. Literally, I could tell you the name of one guy, but he's dead now, so I won't. But
that's the time to share. Yeah,
exactly.
He's not going to come after you.
I think what matters more is programming. I think Gilded Age being on at the same time, programming matters than episode submission.
But episode submission also, Carrie Coon submits the finale for big monologue. Like,
right.
That is.
But I think that's episode writing. Like, I think you get them to write you a big episode. Sam Rockwell got a big episode, so it sticks in your mind.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's looking. I think to Pete's point, I agree. I don't think anyone's looking at the ballot being like, which episode is and checking the ballot against
They're going to remember Catherine.
But I think you remember the speech.
They'll get Catherine Lanaza getting punched in the eye in episode 9 and having to have a black eye all the way through episode 15 because of the nature of that show taking place over the course of one day.
So I think you thank your showrunner for writing you a great episode.
That's something you remember, when you're doing it on these actors. But the other is like, wow, they were all so good in White Lotus. How do I choose? Oh, Carrie Coon was in The Gilded Age, so I'm going to vote for her. I don't know that they think that way.
But I think it's top of mind.
Yeah.
I think there's always recency bias.
Right. It could be.
I think you could vote for Carrie Coon without having watched The White Lotus, just by virtue of all this other stuff she's done.
Because she's Carrie Coon.
Right.
I do think there are some voters, and listen, because like there's 24,000 Academy members, that we know 24,000 people aren't voting, but there's some people who are I like to think are like me, that really take the job seriously. And if you haven't seen everything in the category, at least as a full episode or full season, that you'll watch the episode submission at least to get an idea. And I think if you do that, it does offer up a little bit of advantage when you watch like a Sam Rockwell monologue that just slaps completely. It's like, oh, like this is some good stuff. And Carrie, anything that gives you like, it's that little bit of an edge, especially if you're going to vote split, because everyone in your damn cast is also nominated. It does make a difference.
And I think this is like, we talk a lot about this when we talk about Oscars. Like, you want to vote for the winners. And I think because drama is so stacked, I don't know that there's a sweet potential here. I think like there's so many strong performances. I think especially when you get into the guest categories too, you're going to want to vote for some of these people. So you're going to want to give White Lotus some love. You're going to want to give Severance some love. You're going to want to give Pitt some love. I don't know that you can see an all categories sweep for any one of these shows.
No, and by the way, Sterling K. Brown, you mentioned, put him in a show if you want to get nominations. He's been nominated personally 11 times in various capacities for Emmys and won 3. So why would he not just win here? He's very good in
I think
Paradise.
he's number 3 for sure. Like, I think he
Mhm.
gets. There is a Sterling K. Brown block that will vote for Sterling K. Brown no matter what.
Well, 4 nominations is nothing to sneeze at. That's
Yeah.
impressive for breaking through in this stacked drama category.
Yeah. I think
And we also have to remember, this isn't like the Oscars where now it's open to all 24,000 members. It's still branch specific,
yeah.
which is
And the
which
actors clearly like Sterling.
exactly.
That's it. I still think it's Noah's. I think he's got such a redemption arc. I mean,
Yeah.
not that
Yeah.
he needed to be redeemed, but sort of this like coming back to this kind of character that we've seen before. I do think it's Noah.
But it's
And
not.
it's
And
one.
that's what the key for Noah is. It's a completely different character. It's the guy who, as he says, is drowning because of what happened in 2020 in the pandemic, and his mentor, and he's feeling guilt, and he's going mental, and it's about mental health. And season 2 is going to be even more going down that rabbit hole. So it's a very complex character.
And talk
And-
about having an episode that stands out for him. Like we all remember that episode of The Pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which-
so, you know,
Which, by the way, he didn't submit that episode of him.
It doesn't matter.
I think it matters a little bit. I'm not saying it's a huge difference, but like, I mean, listen, we'll get to comedy in a minute. But like the fact that Ike Barinholtz didn't submit the Golden Globes when they screened Sal Saperstein throws me every time. I'm like,
Every
trust
time.
me.
All right, so let's move on to comedy. So for comedy series, Studio, Hacks, The Bear, we got to go with Studio. Any objections?
I think it's studio. I believe it's Studio in a Walk. Like I really do.
I'm not
it's light.
as firm on it being studio, like, because here's the thing. Last year, The Bear got all these nominations, or I guess broke a nominations record similarly, and it didn't end up winning series. And it was beaten by Hacks. And so I do think, like, you really, although I agree that, like, Studio is fairly the front runner, I really don't think you can discount Hacks.
No, the difference between The Bear and Studio is that Studio is a comedy.
And
The
that was
Bear
the
is
campaign.
And what's the name of the
all-
category again? What's the category called?
right.
comedy
Okay.
series.
Okay.
So
Just checking.
And you look at all those nominations, and of course, it's voters love nothing than something that's about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also a new thing. It's the shiny new toy, and it
Yeah,
got
and
rave reviews, and it performed really well,
Yeah.
and it got the most nominations. It's
So-
got the momentum.
Here's the one thing with the Studio. I think Hacks as a whole is pretty, like, steady. Like, each episode is funny and it has kind of a through line. I found, and I even talking to people heard this as well, with the Studio, because it's so episodic, there are episodes that people really love and find funny, like Golden Globes, and there are episodes where, like, people had to turn it off because it was driving them so crazy.
Yeah, it
like
jumped-
the
it
Oner.
jumped the shark and a couple at the end.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, these are the 2 episodes they seem to be submitting, and I thought that's where the show lost its footing, compared to the brilliance of the first 8. Mostly, I mean, some of them were just really great.
Yeah, and listen, I think to your point, Hacks is definitely, I think, the undoubted number 2 in this race. The Bear lost like 10 nominations from year to year, so I think that's pretty pushes it out.
Oh yeah, I wasn't arguing that the Bear is going to win.
No. I was for the record here. So
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is when you look at Hacks, and Deborah, I hate to keep pointing this to you, but you were there at the time. Fleabag. When Fleabag won for the 2nd season at Amazon, which, by the way, like one of the great wins, I think, of like the last decade.
Thank
But-
you.
And
You're welcome.
What's funny, there was a similar feeling I had when it missed Andrew Scott on Emmy nomination.
I
one.
know.
Like, it makes no sense in my head that, like,
Mhm.
how does it still do that and miss Andrew Scott? Paul W. Downs missing was a red flag to me, and I don't know if I'm overlooking at that and weighing it too much, because I think if you love the show, why is Paul W. Downs, by the way, in favor of Jeff Hiller and Coleman Domingo, the sole nominee of his show? Like, why not just do a staple like Paul W. Downs?
So what does that signal to you? Does that signal weakness for Hannah? Because I don't
Well,
think Jean Smarts is
Megan
unassailable.
Stalter,
Right,
missing
yeah.
Megan Stalter is
Right. Like missing Megan is also a
Well,
staple. I agree
Megan's
with you.
more
but
than
she's
Paul.
always
I mean,
late
Paul
stuff.
got nominated last year, but the two of them,
Yeah,
and
Paul's
she
been nominated
hasn't been
once
nominated.
out of
Then they
4.
go and nominate Robbie Hoffman. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I looked at, if you really love the show, and Paul, which by the way, like especially if you're voting for Julianne Nicholson, who like is so great on that show.
Dance
Paul,
Mom all the way.
yeah, the Paul Meg dynamic with her was the best parts of the season for me. So for Paul to miss, it just signaled some weakness for Hacks overall. But
Well,
So where
he
does
didn't
that
miss.
weakness
He's-
So what I'm trying to
Yeah.
get is, where does that weakness manifest? Because you can't tell me that Jean Smart's not winning.
no, I think Jean Smart's gonna win because
So is that Hannah not winning? Is that Hacks not winning?
So
well, Hannah never wins. So
yeah, can we talk about that? Because on Gold Derby, Deborah, the users are like I think it was like 68% have her winning. Which, by the way, I think she's due for a trip to the stage. I'm down for that. However, she has never won, and last year when it won comedy series, like there's no reason why she just doesn't come along for the ride, and she didn't.
Right.
They went with Liza for a season too early for the Bear. So
Which happens every year with the Bear.
yes, which now,
Except for this year. It's not going to happen.
exactly.
Or is it?
well, no, they are still going to vote for that episode. You know, in their head, with Liza.
Maybe, yeah.
So
So for supporting actress, you're going with Liza? Or are you going to pick a Catherine
I
from
think
the studio?
I think. Well,
Go ahead,
let's
Pete.
see here.
I'm going Catherine O'Hara. I think it's Catherine
I know,
O'Hara.
pick your Kath. It's Catherine O'Hara.
I think it's Catherine O'Hara.
It's
I
only
still-
Catherine O'Hara if everybody's in on the Amy joke. You
Yeah,
know,
I
because-
think it could be Hannah.
But it's also Catherine O'Hara's beloved. It's Schitt's Creek. Sometimes I just think they vote for what they know, and they know Catherine.
And she's
I
double.
don't
and
know.
she's
I
double,
feel like-
because she's double nominated.
Yes.
We get surprise wins in supporting categories all the time.
yeah.
I feel like Catherine's too obvious. Like, I do think it really could be
Well,
Hannah
listen,
this
I
year.
like Catherine Hahn. Tell you the truth, they didn't nominate her for you know.
Agatha.
Can they nominate her hairstyle and her wardrobe? Yes.
Catherine is the one.
I'm good with any Catherine from the
Yeah,
studio,
I mean,
by the
listen,
way. winning.
I love Catherine Hahn on the show. So let me preface this. I worship at the altar of Catherine Hahn. However, she is the one consistent criticism I hear about the studio. But people are like, her character is a lot. So I don't think Catherine's really like Catherine Hahn. I don't think is really in it that much. I think it's Catherine O'Hara. Hannah, I think, is in the running. Liza. And I still think, even though the show did worse than it's ever done nomination-wise, I still think Janelle James, because she was the best part of this season.
They made a concerted effort to put a spotlight on her. And I think if people watched it, she really should be doing better. But I don't know. People might be off habit.
All right, I want to talk about supporting actor. Are we thanking Sal Saperstein, or is it Harrison Ford?
I think it's Harrison
That's
Ford.
a good question.
Thanking Sal Saperstein.
Listen, I would.
Makes me so nervous.
Let me say this. So when you're going down the ballot, like if you're doing Succession, right? Sometimes J. Smith Cameron's just a bridge too far sometimes, and they know that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do everything but that. I thought for a long time he was in it, and then he submitted the war episode, which is the one that he has like the thing with the assistant, which is what he has the most screen time, the most lines. But I just think Harrison Ford, like, it's one of those things like, how many shots are you going to get to give Harrison Ford? And it feels a little Henry Winkler. Like, it's the one way you can reward shrinking. You can feel really good about it. I think Harrison just edges him out.
Yeah, and he also had 1923. So, you know, Harrison Ford's got 2 television series right now, and it never been nominated. Only once for an Oscar for Witness. He should have won for that, in my opinion. But
I think Harrison wins on the narrative.
Yeah,
I don't think so at all. I mean, he wasn't nominated for the first season. I
because
think you're
he
putting
didn't
too much
campaign.
credit into it.
Yeah, but he's been.
And also to the Ike point, do you think anyone is like, oh, well, this is the episode he submitted?
No, I don't
I'm
think
not
it has
gonna
to do
vote
with the
him if
episode.
it's
I think
this.
it's nothing. My argument's not about the episode. My argument's about the industry love that has come forward for Harrison Ford since the nomination.
I think if there's a moment in television that has had staying power this season, it's thank you, Sal Saperstein. And I think Seth Rogen is probably going to win lead actor.
Oh,
and so
for sure.
I could
Yes.
fully see Ike being the other win in the acting categories for
well,
the
I
studio.
could see that. But I sort of agree with the Harrison Ford kind of thing. I think they've got this opportunity, and he has been out there. And
Okay,
you
I
know,
mean that's giving a lot of credit to people watching Shrinking. I think
I mean, listen,
It's not about watching
it's the
Shrinking. It's
also
knowing the
ran,
name
yeah.
Harrison Ford.
Michael Urie, who's also nominated,
Yeah.
is terrific in that show.
Yeah.
And isn't campaigning at all because he's in New York or somewhere and doing
it's
something.
its own sort of
I mean, listen,
campaign.
I talked to Michael. He's out there.
like Marcus, I agree with you. I agree with you to a certain extent. Of like, it's not like sewn up for Harrison Ford. Like it's definitely semi-competitive. Because listen, Eben Moss.
It's a tight race. I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion at all.
I still think Eben Moss Bachrach can like Julia Garner this thing and just win again, and we just act like this isn't happening, and he just does it, right? So I think there is openings for that. But Harrison Ford, campaigning phase 1, right after his nomination, does a variety cover, which everyone knows doesn't happen very often. That he gets to actually come out there and let people like revere him. I think he's just like one of those people. And by the way, I think screen time does matter. It's sort of like he's like arguably like a co-lead on that show. Ike is very supporting, and
I mean, he's in like every episode. There's maybe like one or two that
there's
he's
like
not
2
in.
or 3 episodes he's not in.
Okay.
So like there is a couple. Like I just think like when I think of the studio, he's not one of the first things I think about. When I think about Shrinking, I think about Harrison Ford. I think a lot of people.
Yeah, how many people are thinking about Shrinking? I feel like
I just think
we're putting a lot of credit into star power. Henry Winkler, he won for the first season of Barry. Like he got nominated for the first season of Barry.
But I think in this category, when you have like a lot of people who are arguably not famous, I'd say famous in air quotes, like household names, like those lazy voters are going to be like, oh, Harrison Ford, let's give him an Emmy. And like,
I think they vote for the show they watch. Like, name the last person where it was like, oh, this is a really famous person, therefore I voted for them in this category.
Ewan McGregor for Halston.
Okay.
Right, but that's limited. I said in this category.
No, but that was in limited series. That's a different bag.
All right. Let's talk about the guest actor categories. We got Cranston and Cranston and Cranston and Cranston. Does John Bernthal pull it off? Do they give anything to the bear? It's just Cranston.
I think Cranston is I think he's got it. I do believe that. But I can't help but say that Julianne Nicholson, who I love, by the way, is a little bit of a trap for all of us. I think we are so easy to say it's her. And I remember Sam Richardson winning for Ted Lasso, that like no one was clocking it. And it just, or Storm Reed for Last of Us.
They go off the wall in these guest categories.
Yes.
I think Julianne, she's keeping us a lot here.
Yeah.
And I think Jamie Lee Curtis just might do it again.
Yes.
And that could be it.
Well, because they're still voting for the other episode. But
and there's also Freaky Friday. I'm just going to keep going with my recency bias.
Friday probably does. Listen, I think Cynthia Erivo.
Do they know that she won already? Do they know? They don't know. They
don't know. They just like, I know a name. I've been hearing a name.
Yep.
I know that name.
Totally that. Do they watch the show? To Marcus's point, yes, they watch the show. And so that's that. But I think Julianne Nicholson has the performance. And, so for her, I would say yes. For the other category of guest actor, I don't know.
I think that's between Sean and Scott Glenn, Sean Oatsey and Scott Glenn.
Oh, so you're back on drama now.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you.
Yes, no, go back to drama. We didn't really talk about drama.
Anyone like disagrees with Cranston, I mean, I think.
I think Cranston is so over the top, and I love Bryan Cranston. But it is so going for climbing the fountains in front of the hotels in Vegas because he's totally drunk. Yes.
I think he's a little too in between being a supporting performer and being a guest.
Yeah,
I think
because he's in it, but not quite enough episodes. So.
You see someone like Ron Howard, especially, like this is the first time he's been nominated.
If you're going there, I thought Ron Howard deserved this thing.
I would probably pick Ron Howard, though I wouldn't be like totally shocked if Cranston won. Clearly, I think someone from the studio is going to win.
Because he's Bryan Cranston, and he's always great. And he did this role.
How about a Martin Scorsese surprise? How about
that?
I
know. I would love it.
I would love Scorsese.
How much time do we have left? Come on,
I know.
Do it.
Marty's totally on the table.
Yeah.
All right. We got to move on. Let's talk about limited. Nothing's taking this from adolescence in the category, right?
No.
Yeah.
It's adolescence.
That's it. There's no use talking about it.
There's no use talking about it. So let's move on. Let's talk about actor. Is it Colin? Does Stephen Graham stand a chance, or is it Colin Farrell?
That's a closer race, but it's Colin versus Stephen Graham, and I go back and forth. This is the category that keeps me up at night.
I think it's Stephen Graham. Because what was it? Well, it's happened a couple times. So Dahmer versus Beef is a good example where Evan Peters was teed up the whole year, and then Beef just had the momentum, and so you see Stephen Yeun end up winning
Richard
it in the
Gadd
end.
did it last year too. Gadd, it was Andrew Scott.
Thank you.
Andrew Scott.
Yes.
And then it was there's somebody else that's escaping me right now. And then it just became Richard Gadd. So
yeah, I think
there's
just
an adolescent
Stephen.
Well, Stephen Graham, definitely. I think they're all an ensemble, though. And if you look at The Penguin, this is Colin Farrell. And I think it's hard to beat Colin Farrell in this category. And The Penguin has so many nominations. It indicates that they've all seen it. And Kristen Milioti is going to win in a walk.
Yes.
In a walk over. I mean, here's
over
the thing.
Michelle?
Dying for Sex got nominated for limited
Series.
series.
Yeah, and they like Michelle Williams, and she was great as Gwen Verdon, but Dying for Sex is not as well watched as this one is, and Kristen Milioti is really terrific in it. So
I don't think it's a walk. I mean, I think that's a little bit of a race too. I give the edge to Michelle. I think in that. I think listen, the type of genre bias is a thing, and we have to remember WandaVision did amazing nomination-wise and won nothing on primetime Emmy night. Even Catherine Hahn, who was supposed to win that night, did not because they went with Julianne Nicholson for Mayor of Easttown. So I think genre bias can be a thing that affects someone. I think Colin is – I agree with you, Pete, that Colin feels like something you could definitely give the Penguin in a major way, much like Jodie Foster last year for True Detective. So that's why I think Colin is really in that. But I think Michelle might edge out Kristen Milioti.
now Kristen is also in another nominee in the limited category.
Oh yeah, Black Mirror,
and that's Black Mirror. And reprising her role from 2017. So she's all over this, and I think I'll bet on her.
I don't think it's a crazy bet. Like, people really like her. I think she's very deserving. I just don't know if this is, because so much of Dying for Sex hinges on Michelle Williams. I think the crazy part, though, is like, when you think about that show as well, it also hinges on Jenny Slate. And yet, like, we don't feel as sure that she would win over Erin Doherty, who's only in one of 4 episodes of Adolescence.
What an episode.
I know. That's
one of the
her
episode
things.
submission? Kidding.
I know.
She submitted that episode. She did the right thing.
She did the right
picked
thing.
wrong one.
I want to make another point, though, going back to the tradition of limited and Netflix episode category sweeps. So we're assuming you're all going to agree that Owen's going to win.
Yeah.
Owen's going to win.
That is the most secure.
With a small Y. I just, again, like the Julianne Nicholson thing, I get nervous with kids. They don't do kids like very often.
I know, but the history of it all. They're going with the history on that one.
You can't go all in on that show and not.
Right. So I'm just saying you've got Owen winning. You're going to have Erin winning. You're going to have it winning limited.
Writing and directing for sure.
Writing and directing. So do they leave Steven behind? They really leave Steven behind.
Steven is a producer on it, so they're not leaving him behind. And he's also
right, but I'm just saying for his acting, it just feels.
So was Richard Gadd. He was a producer and a writer, and they still gave him acting too.
I'm just saying it might give him an edge over Colin. I just think it's that was a tough one to call.
I think we're saying the same thing. I think that's the case.
Well, if it's a sweep, they all get in it.
Yeah.
They all win.
If you're looking too deep into it, then that's maybe the case for Kristen winning, because if anyone's feeling like Penguin should deserve something.
Because they don't have a lead actress. Kristen's happy that Adolescence doesn't have a lead actress.
Absolutely.
TV movie. What do we got?
Nothing for you.
What was your favorite non-theatrical feature movie that wasn't released in films? The qualified for this category? I don't know.
Rebel Ridge. But
I hope. God, I hope.
They do whatever they want here.
Though I could see, look, I didn't end up watching Bridget Jones because it's the 4th one, and I felt like I would need to rewatch all
No, it
3.
actually stands alone, and it's really sweet.
It was really
I loved
good.
it.
Yeah. But I do
really
think
good.
there's, especially last year, the film, it was kind of a tight race. The film was more female focused. What was the with Sandra Oh?
Yes.
Oh,
That one ended up
Yes.
winning. It was like something. They're on
Yeah.
Jeopardy or like
Yes.
Oh yeah, with Aquafina.
yeah.
Yes. That one.
That was so stupid.
And so I
Um,
think if we're basing it,
Quiz lady.
yeah, Quiz Lady, thank you. If we're basing it on sort of recency, then that's what makes me
Well,
lean towards Bridget Jones. But
Marcus,
I think
if
Rebel
we're
Ridge is
basing it
more respected.
on recently, then Chip and Dale. You've
That's a
got
great
yeah.
name. Stop it.
Hell
That is a
yeah.
great name.
that one
Fantastic.
television movie. So
And then the director went on to direct Naked Gun, which is
Yeah.
also amazing. Please do not.
It
knock.
just makes me sad. Like, we have all of these great contenders in all these other categories, and we get to TV movie. And I'm not disparaging the contenders. I'm not disparaging them in any way. It just feels like, why are the standards any different here?
well, I
Yeah.
don't
There's
know.
great content being
I've
made.
actually seen all of these except Rebel Ridge, but
Oh, you got to get on
Rebel
Rebel
is the best
Ridge.
one.
Get on Rebel Ridge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's the
don't
best
know.
one.
It sounded.
So-
I don't know.
It's great on a plane.
Yeah.
It's like a nice
it?
2 hours.
There you
What's
go.
it about?
Great
What's it
soundbite. Why
about?
are they
I
not
don't
putting
even
that on
know.
billboards? It's
Oh,
great on
they
the
just
plane.
messed with the wrong guy. The police messed with the wrong
Okay.
guy. And
What about
There's your
Jesse
quote.
What about
Okay.
Mountainhead? Jesse Armstrong coming in.
It's-
that
no.
was not well reviewed.
Succession couldn't hold
Yeah.
that
I
long.
thought The Gorge was good for what it was.
Orange is so much fun too. I think.
These sound bites are just like
Yeah.
warming my heart. These are all right. I want to talk about an exciting race, and that's Talk Series.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's going to be Colbert.
Yeah. In a
You think
Colbert in a walk.
You know, when you
Colbert
get
pulls it
this
off.
much publicity
I'm
Yes.
right around voting time, it's the Daily Show must have just gone, oh, fuck.
I'll be the cynical one. I think the Daily Show is still going to win. I mean,
Okay.
I think
They're
Even
that
very-
Kim, like, come on,
It's-
even Kimmel's voting for
Yeah.
Steven. I read a
it's
billboard
their
that told me
worst
that.
It's a
habit.
billboard. I'm
It's their
voting for
worst
Steven.
habit. And this was also the best year for the Daily Show
So,
nominations
you know what?
wise.
They're going to battle it out in the short category where they're all against each other, including Jimmy Fallon. And that's where Kimmel and The Daily Show and everybody but Colbert is nominated, including Seth Meyers. And that's oddly enough, that
Yes.
short category where it's dominated by the talk series that got edged out is one of the more interesting categories to look
Yeah.
at.
Well, that was gonna be my last question for you all. What's the one category we haven't talked about that's you're gonna have your eye on?
Shorts. That one for sure for me. I think that's an interesting category.
I'm looking at writing for a drama series because that's actually pretty tight. Because I think Dan Erickson could win for the finale of Severance. I think it's one of three real viable categories for White Lotus to win on the night. It's a good thing to give Mike White because he's the Full Moon Party Sam Rockwell monologue episode, and that's actually a good pick for him. And the Pitt's double nominated there. And then Slow Horses, everyone forgets, won last year and beat Shogun. So I'm curious. I'm curious about
Well,
that.
when you're looking at, I'm in that branch, the writers branch, so I vote in the writing categories, and I have to say, you just reeled off all of those are good shows. So what do you vote for? I mean, the fact that the Pitt has two. One of them is the 7 a.m. show, which is also up for directing.
It's the pilot, yeah.
And then the other one is that's always a problem when a series submits.
Don't split your votes.
Don't split them. That's what I say too. I think otherwise I'd say the Pitt might be where I'd go.
Oh, and let me just I should add this one thing. Writing comedy, I think studio seems safe. That's where I think I'm throwing a Hail Mary. I think The Rehearsal's going to win writing comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That'd be cool.
That's my No Guts, No Glory pick on the day.
Love it.
It's up against how many studio episodes?
Yeah.
I think in terms of I don't know if it's one category as much as a trend. It's interesting to see how much of everything surrounding SNL 50 wins or doesn't win, because you can't quite give it to SNL over John Oliver. There's just force of habit at this point.
John Oliver will win because he
Yes.
always wins. And that leaves the special category where SNL is competing against itself. and
No, wait, variety special live, because then that's against Beyonce.
they have
Bowl,
the music
the halftime
one,
show.
and then
These
they
are
have
real
the,
cultural moments.
yeah, and then you have Beyonce Bowl, who will probably win.
Yeah,
And
but it's even in
Lamar.
docuseries, and so it got all these nominations, but it'll be so interesting to see if it wins anything, just because like it's still a contender, but you can make the case for something else beating it pretty easily.
yes, you can totally do that. It has too many here to separate. I think
it's
for
in
the
doc
average
special
voter.
too. Maybe Will and Harper, if that wins, maybe that counts for SNL's Hall. It's vaguely SNL project.
It's SNL adjacent.
Yes,
I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you all. It's been a thrill as always, and a challenge, and a delight, and all of those words.
You just couldn't find the words for it.
I know.
We did stuff today. Good for us.
Yes.
We did stuff. We had to debate. We learned some things. Looking forward to seeing you all at the Emmys. Thank you, everyone.